Welcome back. I know this is not the welcome back I was hoping for. Just hearing me on another round of video lessons, but we're gonna make the best of it. So we're gonna start off with measures of central tendency day 1. You may remember these from previous grades, but this is the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. So we are gonna focus this chapter on data. So the one thing that you are going to have to do a little bit differently here is you don't have your note packet. If you're wanting to and able to print these lessons, I've linked them in a PDF style. You can print them from home. If you don't have that capability or just don't simply want to use your paper and ink at home, you need to make sure you're downloading these and you can split screen your iPad, watch the video, and take notes at the same time. I know that's just not as convenient, but you could also do this by opening a plain notebook, and you won't have my template, but you could take notes that way. That way, when you're going to do the check, you have something in front of you to kind of write on. So starting with lesson 1, we are just strictly going to talk about the 4 measures of central tendencies. So we're going to talk about mean, median, mode, and range with one data set. That's all our notes are going to be on. And then you are going to have 2 check points to do in Canvas, and that's linked as a quiz, as always, counting as a homework and classwork grade right now. So here we go. So taking a look at this set of data. So we have 4.3, 3.8, 3.3, 4, 3.8, 4.3, 4.2, and 4.3. So you need to, number 1, when we talk about the mean, you are going to put these numbers all together and divide to find their average. But when I'm working with all 4 of these, so I have mean, median, mode, and range, the very first thing I like to do is put them in order from least to greatest, because that's going to help me find 2 other of my data points. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in order. So I'm going to do my least number is 3.3. I'm going to kind of cross it out, write that down. Then we're going to move on. We have 3.8 written in there twice, so I'm going to cross those out. Goodness, I'm out of shape here with writing on my iPad. 3.3, 3.8, 3.8, and then our next number that we see is 4.0. And then our next number we have is 4.2. And then we have a bunch of 4.3s. We actually have 3 of those. So 1, 2, 3. I like to cross those out so I know I don't miss a number in my data set. Okay, so I have those all in least to greatest order. That is the first thing that I do. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to calculate each of these data sets. So with mean, I'm going to write down the steps. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to add all the numbers in the set. And step 2, you are going to divide by the amount of numbers in the set. So when I add all those numbers that you see that I have in least to greatest order at the top, I get 32. And I'm going to divide by how many there are. So I'm going to kind of highlight them as I talk. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers in the set. And 32 divided by 8 is 4. And I'm going to write it in the same format that I have it in, so 4.0. Moving on to the median. And I actually want to add one thing in here. Mean is called also the average. So you might see that in some directions. All right, when I'm talking about the median, we are talking about the middle number, which is why having stuff in least to greatest order is important. So step 1, all data should be in least to greatest order. And then we're just going to go from the outside in step 2, finding the middle. And I'm going to actually use a different highlight tool to do this. So I'm going to go 3.3, 4.3, 3.8, 4.3, 3.8, 4.3. And this is a great example because there are 2 numbers in the middle of this set. We have 4.0 and 4.2. So what we do is we actually find the average. So we're going to write a step 3 in here. If 2 remain, find the average. So we're going to take 4.0 plus 4.2, and we're going to divide those by 2, and when you do that, your median ends up being 4.1. And if you need to rewatch finding the median, go ahead and do that. If there are not 2 numbers in the middle and you just have a direct center number, that is your median. All right, mode means the most occurring. So when I look at this data set, I find the number that happens the most. So in this, I can see that I have duplicate numbers of 3.8 and 3.8, and I also have duplicate numbers of 4.3, 4.3, and 4.3. So because 4.3 happens 3 times, that is my most occurring number in this particular data set. There can also be something we call no mode. So if all numbers are listed, I'm going to write this down. All numbers are listed once, there is no mode. Okay, we don't put a 0 because we're not talking about the numerical value of 0. We're just saying no numbers appear more than any others. They all appear one time. All right, the range is our last data point, and the range is the greatest number minus the smallest number in the set. So again, this plays into the least to greatest order, just like with median. And so we're going to take 4.3 and we're going to take away 3.3, and that leaves us with a range of 1.0. So what's great about putting numbers in least to greatest order is you need them in that order for median and range. It helps you see the mode or the most occurring number because they're all grouped together. And then for the median or for the mean, the average, it just kind of lets you go down that path of numbers, starting from the least, going to the greatest, making sure you've added them all together, making sure you've counted how many numbers there are. So in review, mean is the average. We add the numbers and divide by how many. Median is the middle number, which these numbers have to be in least to greatest order to find them. Mode is the most occurring. If all numbers occur once, there is no mode is the answer. And the range is the greatest minus the smallest number in the data set. So you're going to use these notes to now complete these 2 data set questions, answering the mean, median, mode, and range for all of those. And you're going to input those answers in Canvas.